So I'm fully expecting, you know, a Reyna, a Phoenix, a Raze, whatever these guys are feeling most comfortable with. And there we have it. Reyna slotting into that slot, which you would usually expect perhaps a Jet to be playing. But Reyna, still a very competent, strong solo carry agent. Even a double duelist potentially being waved here by the attacking side, of course, of Texas Tigers. So anything here stand out to you, Cairo?
Nothing immediately. Obviously, the Phoenix and the Reyna's are two big ones. The double flashes, well, I guess the Phoenix being a little bit better, but I think it will end up on a solo duelist as we see the Sky being flashed. Maybe even a quick Gecko. It would be fun to have that. That would be my second Gecko of the night if it does come down to it. But on the other side, Hazza, I mean, everything pretty much standard. It's interesting that the Sky is finding so much popularity recently.
Second Gecko of the night. You got something that you want to share with the room, Mr. Cost?
No, nothing. I was just going to say, we had a wee cast earlier, you know.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Oh.
And I had a Gecko on Haven, solo Gecko as well, may I add. And it
Select
obviously
your
went to
agent.
plan as you'd think.
So Gecko, people still sort of struggling to implement then?
Yeah, especially defender-sided Haven, not the best.
Okay. Why is it more difficult on the defense, do you think, than it was on the attack?
Well, because one, it's Haven, and two, it's the utility is just so much harder. Whereas on the attack, you can get have your duelist go and take space. You know what I mean? Whereas if you're trying to take space in towards the site to get utility back, then let's be honest, it's not going to work out.
Okay, interesting. Well, I appreciate the insight, and now it's my turn to give you some of my own. And we actually have all but a mirror comp when you look at the controller department, the difference then being between these two teams, the Astra and the Omen. How do you think that could perhaps factor into how we see this one playing out? Immediately, I'm noticing there to be a strong synergy between the Breach and the Astra on one team. And actually, to be fair, I have got it a little bit wrong. It isn't a complete mirror comp. The Breach is the other difference, right? Which pairs nicely with the Astra.
Yeah.
Texas High are, in fact, running a double duelist.
I would like do you know what would be nice as see if we could somehow gain a little bit of how to put it. It's got a little bit of formatting, so the controls are always on the outer side, and then you work away in that way. It's easy. Yeah, but anyway, point I was going to say, the difference between the Omen and the Astra requiring that little bit more in terms of I guess coordination. The Omen, I'm not saying it's kind of dumping your flash in the paranoia. Devs just wait, did we just see what I think we just saw?
Well, just sort of feeling each other out, right? Like invisible bullets being traded as the shoulders were swaying to one another like some kind of a salsa dance. I'm not too sure, but
no, I thought it was more of a pop and swing, but
more of a pop-in swing. I mean, that I think the whole point of a pop-in swing is that you keep going and eventually come to a halt. But that was constant flow, movement, poetry in motion. Hockey right now being able to just clatter two of these players and breaks the ice by finding the opening kills into the round. Texas High down to a 2 versus 5, and before I even wrap up my sentence, the round may be over.
certainly looks likely as Mewtwo tries to hide away, just getting jump spotted out here, but crossing a little too high, so when the swing comes through, the we've just been perfect, but Cron also there. It was just going to be a conga line of bodies to swing all the way through for Florida Virtual School, and they do a good job in that first round.
Yeah. The name Florida Virtual School is really interesting to me. There's different aspects you can pull there. Firstly, you know, an online school, very cool, keeping up with the times, modern day, and then Florida. I just can't tell whether it's a typo or if Florida is an actual place. It reminds me of sort of like Flow Rider, the rapper, you know? His name was sort of a compound of Flow and Rider, but then it sort of meant Florida.
Yeah, well, I can tell you, do you know what, I can't tell you much because there's too much action going on, Hazza. As Devs is already in towards the site, and we are seeing a KG just get a little bit before that door goes down.
Yeah, perhaps one of the producers can clue us in, and well, Zedom has a clue as to how to approach this mirror matchup on the Reyna duel. Manages to take that kill with the Frenzy. Difficult spot for Nixius to fight out to, but has support from Lonza and is doing well to stay alive for the moment. GetJack does finally trade it out, and this has been a very, very strong low investment from Texas High.
Has been, well, with the fact that Vandal gets kept in play, is good stuff there from Florida Virtual School. I do believe it is Florida has it, as I have tried to look it up, and the only thing I can find is Florida Virtual School.
Oh, oh, okay, all right. Well, look, I'm happy to just take it as Florida. Really, it's up to them, I suppose. But who knows? Who knows? Perhaps the higher ups can confirm for us entirely. But looking at that round there from Texas High as well, really nicely worked. You know, they caused a lot of issues for the Floridians, I suppose, the virtual school. And now they have probably a better buy, I think it's fair to say, coming into this one. You even have Kron posted up in the corner on the Ghost. They're looking to play both ends of the map here a little bit as well. The Sky player outside of A, but nothing really made off of it, and Zedam just takes both.
Easy as that, straight on towards the site. Couple of bullets being shot out, maybe in a little bit of warning. The Vandal that was on the KJ maybe in towards Spawn, which looks likely as they make their way in. But as in terms of what they're letting the Texas High get away with, I mean, it's going to be a very comfortable spike plant and a very comfortable post plant, you could imagine, with how well or how much time they've been able to, I guess, set themselves up.
It should be on paper. You have that additional support from main as well. It's going to be a question of how we see this played. And VQ able to find a couple more kills back into a 3 versus 3. Capitalization needing to be found from that position in main, but nothing coming of it. Mewtwo now in a 1 versus 2 from backside, trying to hold down the boathouse. But Slicks takes a kill, and that'll be 3 on the round. Texas High pushing Florida Virtual School further when they didn't have the guns than on their buy round.
Not only that, as I mean, it seemed to be a sinking ship when all the players all the way back in spawn. We didn't even see the standard, I guess, hold that we tend to see with one player playing on the middle boxes, etc. But, I mean, what a lovely shot and a lovely entry from Zedam here. It just doesn't, I mean, you just thought, or I assumed, because they were able to set up so well, I mean, we would have saw Texas High have a really big round there.
We know how Ascent works. It is typically quite back and forth. Standardized comps, as both of these teams have brought similar ideas to the table. And on this round, so much presence towards B main. Getting really aggressive to try and prioritize that control of the orb and get closer to unloading one of these ultimates.
Oh god, Zedam's found hockey. That's their first death of the round, or for the half so far. Slicks though, another one not being found out. Big guiding light, but unfortunately not able to find out that Reyna. The spike going down. Empress obviously really working out in favour of this Reyna player. Texas High now with a lot of guns in hand, a lot of upgrades. Look towards that flank though, Hazza.
Yeah, we already see that a flank is coming in, but there's utility in place. The turret is there, and with it now shot out, these players should be aware of Kron. The flash just floating past them. Second time of asking, straight in the face. And even if you've got a sheriff, going to be able to take that kill. Flawless from Texas High, and it's Yuk with the final kill. I mean, I tried not to say it in the previous round, but I've been forced to do so here. And yeah, Yuk with the final kill in the first round for Texas High.
Usually when I see something like that, I usually just go for the Sky of Texas High.
Yeah, I mean, I did as well, but what happens when they hit a huge clip?
Yeah,
you got to give them naming rights.
Oh my goodness, nah, yeah, I feel as if that's a bit disrespectful, but big thing, big run from Texas High. So far though, Hazza, it has been very direct here from Texas High, nothing in terms of overall map presence from them, which might give them just away a little bit. The breach obviously playing into it this really nicely with that fault line.
It's almost poetic that just as Texas High find their first round win, Florida Virtual School have gained an L, and it's yeah, personified in some ways. And here we have it, Yuk sending out the utility, Seekers coming through to the site and blinding up Nixius, who has to play close to the hoardings of the wall. Dev's trying to push in and manages to swing back with 2 huge kills to bring us now to a level standing. And as that happens, it's a complete collapse. Texas High fall on in. The foundation's weak and they get dropped into the mud as Florida Virtual School can extend that advantage once again.
Florida school or virtual school doing really well here. In general, with the way that they've been able to impose control so far, Hazza. Not only that, they've got all their ultimates as well.
That they have. And looking at, well, I mean, they have all of their ultimates. They're close to getting a couple of them, right? 6 out of 7. We saw in previous rounds a priority made towards B main to get one of those orbs online, but this time a lot more difficult. Heavy presence from Texas High in this position. Actually, I think it was the only round that they lost where that pressure was actually made, as Nixius gets one this time. A little bit less, and we'll have to drop back into the site. But Texas High again, yeah, playing very reserved here. Happy to concede all of this space in front of Market.
It's not only that, it was a nice setup by the KJ to put the alarm bot down, and then on top, not only just that, but also get themselves a nice nano swarm just to delay that a little bit longer. Big investment right now in towards this lockdown, and it seems as if the defenders have just been a little late on reacting to that. Have to respect what's going on, and this will be a mad dash now, Hazza, to get back in towards the site, as now the spike starts to tick that little bit quicker. The alarm bot finding the player in towards that locked position. Now there's a lockdown of their own. Need to get in now, need to find the players, and they're making them panic, they're making them work. There's only 2 players left, and already Get Jack's looking to get out. Is there enough time on towards the spike? I don't think that's the case. What a massive play!
Huge from Get Jacked. Disappears for only a moment's notice, but returns at the 11th hour and finds a huge double kill. Not sure if there would have been enough time anyway. Like you said, the first lockdown stalling things out enough. A decent investment to give them a little extra breathing room, perhaps strip back the Texas High forces. But Get Jacked had the perfect game plan as to how to approach it and forces them onto an eco now. That gap really starting to fill up between the two teams.
It really is. But not only that though, Florida High, I mean, the buy isn't great, even though they've been pretty decent on all the, well, I'd say all the rounds, on most of the rounds so far, has a majority of them. I mean, they're still forced in towards Marshalls and Buckies and the like.
We're seeing this time the Florida defense spread out across the 3 remaining lanes and leave B open for the most part, stacking the few resources that they have into one area, perhaps looking to play through some of these ults as a form of win condition. Yet again, Texas High take the space away from them, have control of button. It's just a question of whether they'll hold on to it as much this time around. They didn't need to because they had the lockdown on the previous, but this time against the lower weaponry, it might be beneficial to do so.
I mean, they've lost that lockdown that last round, really might prove pivotal. Talking about pivotal, this spot's pivotal. They've not cleared out the sky, but now the spot given away. And it just seems to be them cutting the last remaining players down. Kron comes out with a nice double, but that's about the size of it.
Yeah, that it is. And Texas High do maintain that position. They use Yugyukas that way back through from main, just playing off the shoulder more than anything else and peeking with good timing. We're seeing devs on the Marshall here. Some collateral that they picked up from the previous round, I think, as the Bladestorm was the main investment there, as a full set of rifles will be in the hands of Florida now. But looking at how that economy ends up working out, it could be troublesome for this team. Florida in a decent enough position, I suppose, but would really like to pick up a win here because Texas High, as long as they can get the spike down, will probably be just all right in reinvesting.
I can't remember if there's timeouts, but
yeah, there are, but nobody likes to use them, Cairo. I think that's a key point.
I was going to say, Florida Virtual School, realistically should be looking at that. The momentum not in their favour, and already we're seeing Hockey just get found out, the Empress being popped, and oh no, the Reyna without the Empress pops out at the wrong time. Talking about momentum, it's went firmly in towards the favour of Florida here. One player left, and well, they're stuck in towards tree, potentially going to be old as the trees as they look to get eat up, but no. Mewtwo finds Slacks.
Reyna on Florida Virtual School right now seems to be hovering around the 2 KPR, always having really good impact on these rounds, and that is exactly what you want your Reyna to be doing, even doubling up for kills. when her kit is so good at isolating them. Mewtwo has some of that work to do for themselves here, finding the first. Needs to spare a few bullets if they are to be split equally between the two remaining players, but can't even fire off the first shot before Nixius shall close. Florida get another round back and, yeah, keep themselves at arm's length from that Texas High, which seem to be crawling their way back.
Just that stunt might be enough. I mean, in terms of the buys, in terms of the economy, it certainly looks likely. Somewhat of an eco here, which means Florida will be able to at least get on towards 6, depending, or that is assuming that that better weaponry will win here, Hazza.
Placing swarm grenade.
Yeah, I mean, it's an assumption to make. We saw Texas High in one of the early rounds prove the value that they had working as a unit. A bit heavier on the defensive investment, defensive setup towards B, with all of the Killjoy utility and Initiator playing off the shoulder of Kron, who's been a thorn in the side of them thus far. But we do need to worry about Yugyuk, or I should say the Sky, the reverse way, Slicks, who is just posted in this corner under Heaven. Does get spotted out by Devs, and that is a big frag.
It's a massive one. Make sure that that site is in their hands. Also gives an upgrade to one of those players, but look at the delay that this smoke is causing. The players can't get through. And see them. Oh my goodness. Provides freedom to those players. Provides freedom to the players on this site. Kron on the flag. Yeah. They've been caught out once again here, Hazza. It means that this is going to be so tough to get in. Maybe a save coming through for Florida. But it's unknown at this time. The players are stuck here, looking to clear this out, and well, they clear out emphatically.
Yeah, and 60% of the kills come from that Phantom upgrade taken from the hands of Slicks in that position. Not well supported enough by their teammates. The positioning not well thought out. I don't think it's really fair to say that, or I should say it's fair to say that the positioning was not ideal. Right, you have this isolated fight under Heaven. No contact or information is being taken off the back of the utility before the players have already made their way up to Gen, and then yeah, Zedom just goes absolutely crazy off the back of it. Now we're within 1 coming into the 10th round. Texas High, a very good chance here for them to build up a lead of their own.
Oh god, Nixie is trying to pop out a little bit too early there with a nuclear talkie in towards this door position. Might try and get aggressive and will punish for it. That's unfortunate. Texas High getting the spike down and already taking advantages. This A site seems to be very confident for them. Get Jack though, proven even more so.
Yeah, Jack finding one from the back, and it's another flawless round for Texas High. I'm pretty sure that 60% of the rounds they've found now have been flawless. 3 of the 5. And this is very good scenes if you are following that team from Texas right now, because the way that they're playing this attack is nothing too complicated. They've not tried to play into anything crazy mid to late round, play for these rotates or manipulate what the setup is from Florida. They're either winning in convincing fashion or struggling along the way, and it seems like right now, as long as they're grouped together and going for these hard-hitting executes, they come out on top.
I've got a question for you, Hazza, and it's just a quick one. Do you think the Omen's name is Jack and you're getting jacked, or that he's just a lover of the gym?
I would really hope that it's one of the two things that you've suggested and not anything else. That is all I'm going to say. I think his name's got to be Jack. Surely their name is Jack.
That would be the best thing ever. And do you know what else would be the best thing ever if you're a Texas high school fan? Is the fact that you would be able to get in and delay. But look at the space they've created from this one layout on towards A. It's crazy.
And I was literally just saying in the pre-round there as well about how, they hadn't created much space, not done anything too complicated, but we see a brilliant fake using the lockdown to bring them all of this space on B. Yuguk finally is able to clip Kron from the backside, even doubling up with an additional kill. The only issue is you're going to need to double their weight even more so because the rest of the team have fallen. A 1 versus 5, the only way to bring this over the line now, and the util has them condemned to an early death. Team Ace for Florida Virtual School, and they will at the very least be guaranteeing those 6 rounds coming into the next half.
Well, but when coming in towards this, when we were talking about Ascend being the most Ascent being the most even map across everything. That's why we see it in Best of One so often, Hazza. And we're seeing it right here. It's already looking like it could be a 6-6 half.
It's a comfort pick as well, right? Teams love to try and play into it. Even when I was explaining it on the desk about whose preference is going to be the defense or the attack side, when you don't have any kind of prerequisite in terms of what the comps are going to look like for these teams, you can only help but feel that they'll be equally as comfortable. But we'll have to see if that narrative will change. One more on this first half as the execute comes in, but Slicks is uncleared.
Oh, at least gets out with one. That's big. There goes your control. There goes of the site has the fact that those smokes will be gone. And look at this. Already we are seeing the rolling thunder. The players looking to bust out of heaven. Remember, the players can't really shoot back, but you have to be accurate. You have to hit heads, and the only heads being hit is out of hit Texas High. 2 players remain, but the flashpoint comes through, and Devs unfortunately unable to find those last couple of kills. And well, it's going to be Florida Virtual School taking that advantage into the next half.
It's a scrappy skirmish between the two schools to send us out of the half. But very nicely done by Florida Virtual School for what it's worth, right? They invested the Rolling Thunder early, had so much breach utility to work with, being that flex rotate player between the sites, pinning things down for them at this point in time. And there we have it. Just looking at the replays from what we've seen in the previous half, we'll now have to question what I was saying earlier. No, do either of these teams have a serious preference as to how they want to try and play this? On the base level of it, just looking at the comps that we have, I do favor Florida Virtual School perhaps a little bit more with all of the set pieces of utility that they can use with, you know, the Astra, the Breach together, and then also just combining the Reyna into it. Probably not the best of duelists to be setting up, as she'll struggle to cover the ground that a Raze, Neon, or a Jet would, but, you know, there are pieces in place. It's just a question of how they're implemented.
Oh, just creeping through here. The Reign of Kron taking mid space, and that is going to be denied by, or at least denied information in form of that smoke Kaza. This is big. Taking a lot of space away here from Texas High.
Seems as if we may get that Reyna duel early doors, as it seems that Kron is tip of the spear in terms of how Florida are approaching this. They want to fight Spawn. That's a headshot through the wall from Zedam, though. Already so much going to waste on the Florida Virtual School side as Texas High just lay them to the ground, and the final blow comes in. Izugyuk winning their battle on the mirror pick there. You know, there is some overlap between these teams, but Florida Virtual School just sandwiching themselves into the belly of the beast, and they get dissolved.
Talking about dissolution. I don't even know what the word is.
Dissolution.
Dissolution. Okay, there we are. Dissolution. We are going to go and dissolve, whatever it is.
Yeah, dissolve is correct.
Let's stop. Let's stop talking about English words. I was about to say, we're going to dissolve.
Let's get some Americanisms in here, brother. I'm sick and tired.
Don't bring out
the Oxford Dictionary. What is that?
Point I was making is the fact that there's no more gameplay. We're taking a timeout, Hazza, because Virtual School have completely, I guess, capitulated.
That they have, right? Look, you need to stop, Cairo. You need to stop. It's far past your bedtime, and it's definitely not a bedtime story that you're reading out of a dictionary right now, or a thesaurus.
Definitely not.
For lack of a better word. So let's just have a look here. Right, you saw the previous round. It seemed somewhat promising, but as I was mentioning there, Kron seems to be that tip of the spear and was blunted almost immediately by the shot from Zedam. You had that quick follow-up to try and take a fight, but if you're putting all 5 players through market that deep in towards defender spawn, there's always going to be a deep lying crossfire because it's so quick for Texas High to rotate. So I think if they want to go for a similar play again, you need to show some presence elsewhere to just divert some of these players from your position, because otherwise it's just going to be that easy to clean them up.
Seems as if the Sky just quickly peeking out in towards that short position. A couple of pings going through, and Dev's coming in, taking away this space, knows that, or should somewhat know that Nothing has been approached in terms of market, but we are seeing this guy just taking contact shot now. Already all the info and all the utility being used up there. Nothing being picked up as the players try to bust through on towards the site. Elsewhere, the lurker gets taken out. Lurker on the site, Jack gets downed.
Yeah, and then Nixius gets taken out. Struggled a little bit on finding the kill. In comes Eden with a Vandal in hand, and that is going to be a real problem for Florida Virtual School. So too is the door, which now slams itself shut into the face of Kron. And it's a very metaphorical way of looking at this round as well. They went flying in. There was an opportunity there, but one which was quickly scarpered. Jack's doing some decent work. I mean, Hockey does really well to trade it. But yeah, Zedum now coming into the bonus with this Vandal is probably the biggest threat that you're going to have to worry about if you are Florida Virtual School, which is why I would like to see them continue to root through these grouped pushes.
Moving on towards what seems to be, I was going to say the bonus, but I mean, a couple of rifles mixed in there has. It's going to be good stuff. That George just hiding somewhere could find at least one, but look at how passive Florida are playing this one.
They're expecting the aggression, and we're already seeing it somewhat come to light in that short position. Both of the duelists actually working around mid, which I like to see because, you know, as a duelist, or as these two specifically being Reyna and Jet, you can disengage very easily. So having that position one watched by these players is a nice setup when you could be facing into so many at once. But Jacked has the exact same problem on the horizon up close with the judge.
Oh God. It's just what we thought. Jack being able to find one, but Zedum, that's the bigger one, gets one and being able to dip out with that dismiss. Spike finally going down, but the damage seems to have already been done here. Oh, there is the regrowth to try and get the KG up, but as the Leers start to come through, it puts the pressure on the players to get on that gun and get firing away. The players just waiting for the white swing, and well, James able to capitalise upon it. Now in towards the site, there's one player, Hockey. Yeah, unfortunately, it's going to be a shot towards the goal, and it's going to be the Texas High to score.
Yeah, Texas High convert their bonus, as did Florida Virtual School on the previous half. I think we have to remind ourselves here. Both teams were able to take a quick 3-0 lead before things started to look that bit more competitive. And with the scoreline only one round separating them at this point, I mean, it would take a miracle or some very clean sheriff's shots, saying that, for them to come out of this round with a level scoreline. And yes, perhaps we will now see that shift in the balance in terms of who is looking to be the better team, as Texas High have adjusted brilliantly to their defender half.
Again, it's another 5-star, 4 at least, majority stack here from the attacking side. Tends to be what we see here on the HSEL stream. Nothing in terms of anything too intricate, but I don't know if I just saw the Reyna try and jump in through the site, but no, not to be. The Trailblazer finding out that Sky hiding in the corner. Here we go, the bust through, and nobody get taking any engagements, waiting for the utility to come through, and here it does. Dems gets one, the player's in towards, oh God, has a no way.
Really, really nice cleanup there from Texas High. They had the setup up against the eco. They're just getting the anti-frags. Very nicely done. Looking at the setup here as well and just reading into a bit more of what I was saying, you see you have both of these duelist players just floating around mid. Either of them is so quickly able to mobilize towards the sites that you have from short and market. As a good setup, it seems as if we've got Yuk just sort of floating between the two sites, looking to claim information where they can. But even then, just having Mewtwo play solo on B is perfectly fine, because you have all of this Sentinel utility, and the fact that there is an additional player on B on the previous round makes things even worse. But then Mazedim goes for an aggressive challenge, but isn't able to dismiss before getting traded out.
Yeah, I don't like the fact. I personally would prefer the alarm bot to be in towards that mid position with the turret watching main, just because on the sheer fact that you'd have so much more control of the map.
You do have the Jet player posted up under Arch right now,
True.
though, and I think that's important as well when you look at the flank that's going to be coming through, because there's a real opportunity for them to deny that later into the round. Does actually just back away, doesn't fancy the close position, as Lonza, the loner right now, is just going to be playing solo in mid to try and pluck off a rotate, which isn't really forced to come through. It's a very rigid defense here from Texas High, and I like that they haven't over-rotated into this.
Well, that KG might have just given away enough information the way they're walking through, but Devs just so much quicker on the mark, gets that player, and again, the pressure alleviated at this time. I mean, if you're the defensive side, you know exactly wherever the push comes through, there's going to be at least 2 players to counteract that, with the Astro Stars and the light coming down, the spam through the smoke, 1 player left. It is all up to Kron, and they're looking to save Hazard. They're not wanting to give much away. Well, they give away the last rifle.
That they do, and I think, to be fair, there's probably a decent argument for them to try and clutch it out, I suppose, when that's your gun round. Yeah, you could save it for the next one and try to play through it, but after they find that first kill, if there's a safe way to disengage and then get the fight onto Jack, then there's always a chance, because we know how strong Reyna is as that duelista agent, especially with the Empress online, as we're now seeing it, and that is also the reason being for this Bulldog purchase. But I think Florida need to be careful now, though, because they've only realistically got 2 more buys on this half. Then you're now discounting what Kron will be able to invest when you look at this Bulldog on the next round.
Again, another slower round, but I like the fact that Florida have really looked towards every lane of this map to try and at least poke it, see what their reaction is, and wait towards that. Although it seems as if it's just a little bit too advanced on towards B main. The layer goes out, but no reaction again. Texas High, very resolute.
It's like making the perfect ratio of butter on a slice of toast. You want to spread yourself thin enough to have good coverage, but you also don't want to be spread so thin that you're incredibly weak or there's no flavor to it, right? And I think that's a slight problem for Florida Virtual School right now. We've seen them become even more compact and finally head in towards mid to take these fights, as Nixius tees himself up brilliantly, and Kron also swarms in on the arch position. So this is a great reversal of the point that I was just making, as they found themselves a 2-player advantage and look to siege on this A hit.
Seeker's now coming through for these attackers, and that's going to mean that, well, the Omen might be giving up a little bit too much. That's a lovely Nova Pulse, and that pushes Jack in towards a position they do not want to be. Now, as we see the spike go down, the last remaining player of the KJ looking to save up.
Yeah, and Kron, hearing me talk about Marmite as, any good self-serving American would, and their love for British foods, has gotten hungry and decided to go hunting towards spawn. Is now looking for a little bit more on towards Mewtwo, and having shown their face already, I'm sure that these players will be in hot pursuit, and they give away nothing. Not only is it thrifty, it's flawless. A brilliant round from Florida Virtual School.
I was going to say, how much Marmite do you think is consumed in the
United States?
Yeah,
a very, very small amount, which is why I say it lightly there. But yeah, Kron has done a brilliant job on the round, managed to pierce all the way through market into the heart of this defense, and it also goes back to a point that I was making earlier in the game, that you can't afford to do that when you've put no pressure elsewhere. But as Florida finally have the coverage that they need, it is so strong.
Dev's now on and up though. And as the player gets ready to peek in towards mid. No, actually, yeah, I was about to say he hits out that Lonza, and unfortunately for them, they're going to be... that's terrible for me, I can't pronounce.
What a massive Lonza.
Lonza, yeah, let's not talk about that. But the fact is, the KG is very low. Devs, Crosshair pretty low as well. That might end up in another legging, but in terms of this, Devs already feeling the pressure from the Astra.
Yeah, hasn't decided to re-challenge the Nebula. In fact, might just end up fully rotating as we have the From the Shadows in support. Jack towards the back site. And this is a 2 versus 1, whether they know it or not. Kron has completely left Mewtwo out in the open. And unfortunately, Jax isn't there to bail them out immediately. But now in position with the Paranoia in hand is looking to get it done. Seekers as well to assist, but a little too late, at least for the moment. Yugyuk with yet another trade. And this rotate from Texas was so quick that Florida haven't been able to deal with it at all. There is a flank coming through from Hockey, and that should be the final blow. But yeah, what a weird round. It just felt like, you know, Noah's Ark was placed on the B site, and in 2x2, you see random sets of players begin to appear, trade, find some kills, and finally, you know, Hockey gets the 2 big elephants in the room at the back and finishes off what was a plain sailing performance.
See, the thing is, though, as well, right? See, when we look towards that last round, I mean, if we had seen Devs actually find that KG, that would have turned the round completely on its head. Not to kind of identify key moments, but I mean, just genuinely chaos so far. And this time, Florida Virtual School, they're looking to, I guess, really pressure in towards mid here.
Kron, knowing that this is an eco, should be clearing close, however, and does so. Punishes Devs very nicely. Like you said, the tone can be changed immediately with an opening kill, and that hit has. Nice flash out from Yugyuk to self-serve on the Sheriff, but it's a 2 versus 4. This heavily favors Florida Virtual School, whether Jacked has possession of this Vandal or not. They are locked out in the heavens without a key as the Cosmic Divide will continue to persist.
I don't think we've seen a full save come through from either team just yet, from memory serves me. They all want to go for engagements, and they've all got the mechanical ability to do so. Jack proving it just there, and Mewtwo doesn't know where to go, doesn't know whether it's the best idea to challenge Heaven or even break through that door.
I don't know.
Does give away.
If Mewtwo's actually blocked themselves with that turret or not.
I think they have.
Well, it's just a theory. We'll have to find out, Kyrocasts, in our own time on a custom server, because Mewtwo has not walked into it. They've ran away, placed down the alarm bot, and is just looking to save this weapon. And yes, they have not wide peaked mid either, so we're okay. We're okay. We can continue that narrative.
We're really getting the caster curses in tonight, Hazard, because that's a few times we'll mention something, and directly after we've had it happen. For instance, I mentioned the save there, and we actually got a full save coming up from you too.
Yeah, I mean a full save for just the one player, I guess you could say, right? Because looking at the scenario here, yeah, not ideal. But if you're Florida Virtual School, they've won 3 on the bounce. You know, we've got the economy really starting to build up for them now. Credit's not an issue for the remainder of this half, I should say. You know, going all the way to the finish line, and they've got a Bugatti to drive them there. But 10 apiece. Now we need to see one of these teams really carve out their legacy in the rest of this best of 1.
Lockdown ready to go. Players also ready to burst off the back of it, but you don't want to go too early. And it seems that Florida, the Virtual School, are trying to go as early as possible. And wow, what a massive pick there. Everybody getting in on the mix, and look at this. There is going to have to be a delay. Was the fault line invested early? I would say invested in early. It's just a fact you probably more want to keep that for a post plant, but no need. Kron just being able to use their gun to win out this post plant right now. 2 versus 4.
There's a 2 versus 4, and Florida are making a case for themselves to be masters of their own destiny into the latter stages of this game. This would be their 4th round in a row. Very, very dangerous for Mewtwo out into the site, but the odds have become even. And still perhaps probably favour Florida just a little bit with the amount of utility they have to defend this spike. The first of the guiding lights sent out, the second follows it up straight into the face of Mewtwo. And it is a double. Both of those players punching in a ticket. And just like that, Florida 1 step closer to crossing the threshold of a victory here.
One step closer, Hazard, and that's going to be a big round for them to get closer on towards at least map point. And what a nice swing coming through from both players. Nice post plant as well. And on top of that, I mean, the fact that we're going to see Texas High go for it, send it all in, it's a last roll of the dice, it seems, for this side, the defensive side. And if they don't win this one, we're looking at equal for match
Placing
point.
alarm bot. Placing swarm grenade.
Yeah, that we are. I mean, we were speaking about the buy rounds coming through here. Florida never going to have an issue with that. Interesting use of the Nano Swarm under Hell there. And I'm wondering if that's Mewtwo perhaps looking for a ways in towards the retake as they have begun to play off-site itself. We do just have Florida Virtual School here as well, playing very slow yet again. I mean, they have their own alarm bot for main. Neither of these teams have looked to challenge A off the rip.
It's not only that though, Hazzy, you also think about what's going on there, and on top of that, like, oh, okay, Cron somehow escaped. I was about to say, the fact that we've seen Florida Virtual School change up the pace on the rounds consistently, playing with their opponents, and this is massive. Oh my god, Cron just found their way into the back lines. There's a jet completely for free, and there's the Omen as well. That's going to be absolutely massive. Now they're going to turn everything else in, but Mewtwo reacts perfectly. Elsewhere, the players looking to, I guess, tuck their tail and run, get on towards B, but the two players on short are already looking to rotate.
30 seconds.
You're off the back of Kron's 2 frags. You set
No
yourself
way.
up brilliantly. Slicks even finds Yu-Gi because they go in towards the Trailblazer. Now it's a 4 versus 1. They have flipped the script on its head here, Florida Virtual School, after it looked like Texas High were getting off to the perfect start on their defender's half. Those 3 rounds in a row come back to bite whichever team picks it up yet again. And Lonzo will close. Money dried up, and Florida Virtual School sat on the brink.
It's not even that, Hazard. It's the fact that the KJ switched up to the A side because of how much Texas High were getting some value out of it. And now, out of how much Florida were getting value out of it, Texas High made that adaptation and Florida punished them for it.
Yeah, they have. And now just looking at the investment here, devs on the judge, not close to the Blade Storm. Alts haven't really had too much of a say in how this game has progressed, I think, if we're being real. And looking at what Texas High have to work with, it's fairly reactive. That's why I'd like to see them go for this different setup, as we have Zedam getting aggressive in main, finding 2 kills, and putting Florida Virtual School on the back foot. Still the Seekers in pocket, the lockdown as well, and both of those players will be making their way towards A.
Florida playing this map, just unfortunately getting caught out. It seems as if now with Texas High having all these ultimates, I mean, you look towards the later stages, one more round, if it does get to the point of Texas High winning this one, they will have a lot of, I guess, firepower coming into this next round.
Yeah, they will. We do see there are still quite a few players here to deal with it for Texas High. Lear coming through, trying to clear close, has the information but doesn't react quick enough. Jack able to find 2 more kills. Texas High will be bringing us the full distance of 24 rounds in regulation for what feels like the first time in an opening game in a HSEL match. So we are very privileged to be here. We'll just have to see if the second game lives up to the same kind of standard and the rhetoric will follow. But Texas High pushing us to the distance, delivering the goods. And both teams, like I said, having that full buy coming into what will be the final showing before overtime.
It's not only that though, Mewtwo has that lockdown, which is probably the biggest piece of the puzzle that you could want if you're on this defensive side. The retake looking very strong. As for Florida Virtual School, I mean, either 2 of the ultimates that they have in pocket, very strong for, I guess, holding it in post plant, going for retakes. I mean, the full shebang, they can really make this work. And this last round going to be so interesting to see what kind of goes first. Another slow round between the 2 of them, trying to, I guess, pierce into either side of the map. Big smoke. Information must be there for Texas High.
Yeah, to a certain extent. I mean, the smoke is holding them at bay. You have the killjoy set up. Jack, a player on hot form right now, is happy to just dispense of one of these Florida Virtual School players in mid. would typically be overstepping the mark, as he isn't one of those players that has the opportunity to move out of a fight as swiftly as your Reyna or Jet does, but still goes for it and wins. Now Florida have to try and reconsider. They've not really claimed any space. They've pushed both extremities on the map, but they're not capitalized too well. And this is an effective 1 versus 1 in short, as the space has been covered. But Jack has a huge paranoia, which finds 3 players. And Kron does fall as a result with 20 seconds left on the clock and no execute made.
Okay, well, the execution now having to come through very, very late, and sometimes this can be the punishment. The layer goes up, but look at this. See them not wanting to peek out, but when they do, they get 2. Oh, God, it's all up to the last remaining KG. And as it, we have confirmation. We are in overtime.
That we are. I mean, what was the long overtime that we had before, Cairo?
I think it was 24-22.
24-22. It was not that long. It was a it was an 18-16, I think, on HSEL. We had an 18-16 on HSEL. I remember it. Nothing in the range of 20s just yet. Maybe like a 2018. I don't know. Either way, looking at this one, we've seen Kron buy into the operator, one of the few players with 20+ kills. Texas High now on the attack. Jack having a lot of worth there, and yeah, the double duelist, you favor them to be the stronger of the two from this position, but that is just quite frankly not how things have panned out thus far.
Stars coming through, Hockey just holding out, but just supporting this Astra. This is a bit of a monster play, but unfortunately the op not quite connecting. Trying to get closer. I mean, only 3 stars for this Astra as well. They're even going to get the value out of it, dropping all the way off Texas High, getting punished in main.
No, Hockey came into this round with full utility, though. The operator was on the hands of Kron, the person who brought it into the round, looking to go for the quick peek, but then sort of tossing it over towards that controller player, which usually is what you'll want to try and do, as Hockey misses the shot there. Because, you know, it gives you a little bit more flexibility on how you want to set up and how these duelists can play more aggressive off the back of the one-way that was placed in main. But with that player now gone, it's a 3 versus 1 pretty much wherever you look to try and take it through the map. And unfortunately, that will be the case on this A site for Nixias.
Oh, that's a big paranoia, has it. That was on towards the breach, but they're not able to react in time. Holding in for the spray, gets at least 2. There is the spike still to go down, but there's time to deal with that. The Seekers, though, big stuff. Gives away the position that both players are in towards Heaven, and now can react accordingly. Bo stays on towards Generator, guiding light in pocket, 15 seconds to the second. That could be enough depending on how much we see Florida actually try and delay. Oh God, the turret's giving away the position, but the reposition might be massive. That guiding light, though, even bigger, gives away the spot they are in towards Bad Jenny. Oh my goodness, what a clutch!
What a clutch from Yugyuk. The first flash coming out a little bit prematurely off the turret contact, playing off some kind of a sound cue. I'm not sure how they set it up, but then isolating the jewels around both sides of Gen. As we see here, Hockey was able to find that first, but got traded out. And then the big turning point on the round is the fact that Breach is able to find 2 kills there, Nixias, from back Gen with a use of 1 flashpoint. Really, really strong. That makes the round close for Florida Virtual School there, but unfortunately for them, Texas High are the ones to win.
It's not only that, though, Isaac. I mean, I guess if you want to look at the micro stuff, Nixias, if they didn't commit to a spray, just tapped away at the players, could be in a position where Florida Virtual School had the advantage.
Certainly could. It's another slow round on the attack here from Florida Virtual School. Spike not committed anywhere, not even a turret placed actually from the Killjoy of Mewtwo here to be watching actively towards B main. They're happy to just sit there themselves and perhaps bolster the defense of the site once taken. Some good room also plucked away from Market. They are just going through the motions right now to make things more difficult for Texas High on this defense. Of course, being one round away, I should say, from closing this out.
I mean, the fact that when you look towards this and the space it was taken, oh, Oh, we saw the Sky actually have the information on this, but that might have pulled the players towards B.
30
As we
seconds
start to
left.
see a little bit of a push in towards that short position, in towards, oh my god, Hockey gaining and keeping the advantage. A little bit of an engagement in towards the spawn position, but it's the engagements on A that matter. Spike down, 2 versus 2, and they're completely isolated, and Zedum gets a massive pick. Time ticks away, Texas High look to
10
win this
seconds
one out.
left.
It only remains that Hockey will have to clutch up, doesn't actually completely hide himself here, so when the Reina peeks out, they will be able to engage,
No
and
time.
time wins it out. Fantastic from Zedum, and fantastic from
Defenders
Texas
win.
High.
Yeah, Zedum with a really great timing there at the end understands that you either deny the